nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. You may put your hand down. You are Anna A. Barron, also known as Anna A. What?
Emmerich?
Emmerich, E-M-E-R-I-C-K.
Yes,
You
sir.
are the same person that is here before the court on case number 647-927, charged with unlawfully carrying a weapon in a motor vehicle.
Yes, sir.
Will cover with you several rights and protections that you have under our constitutional laws. First of all, you have the right to remain silent, which means you do not have to make any statement at all. You don't have to answer questions. You don't have to submit written paperwork that has your signature, especially papers that admit or deny, or rather admit or confess wrongdoing. You understand you have that right.
Yes, sir.
You also have the right to a jury trial, meaning that you and your attorney and the state could select 6 jurors from a jury panel of disinterested citizens who would hear all the evidence and presentations in this case and decide whether you are not guilty or whether you have been proven guilty beyond reasonable doubt. That's called the right to a jury trial. Is that understood?
Yes, sir.
If you decided to go to trial, the state would have to present evidence, and that would have to be done by way of testimony. Any witness that would testify would be subject to you and your attorney questioning, challenging, or cross-examining that individual. That's called the right to confront witnesses. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
You have the right to appeal. After all of this is said and done, it's all over. There's a right, it's called the right to appeal, wherein you and or your attorney can demand that a higher court review the official record, the evidence, the entire proceedings in this matter for whatever legal challenge you wanted to make. You'd have to be careful on that because you have to be mindful of the form and substance of the documents you have to use. You also have to be aware of the time limitations that are involved. But that is essentially what's called the right to appeal. Do you understand you have that right?
Yes, sir.
And also, finally, you have the right to demand that this proceeding be held in the open public courtroom. The state prosecutors also have the same right. So in order to proceed, because of the COVID pandemic, we've been doing this by, as you can see, by the internet system, including this is being shown on YouTube. So do you understand you have the right to demand this be put in the courtroom?
Yes, sir.
All right. In order to proceed, you have reviewed a multitude of documents, legal papers that are part of this proceeding. Those documents that have your signature, did you put your signature on there only after you had reviewed them with the help and guidance of your attorney?
Yes, sir.
Did you in fact sign a document that is titled, it identifies you and then it is titled consent to video conference of this proceeding?
Yes, sir.
All right. Mr. Beck, did you assist Ms. Barron in the reviewing and signing of the documents in this case?
I did, Your Honor.
Did you yourself sign one that acknowledges that the state has complied with Article 39.14 Texas Code of Criminal Procedure in that they have provided the discovery that's required by law?
I did, Your Honor.
Ms. Barron, you have a charge that is a Class A misdemeanor. One of the critical papers that you reviewed and signed is titled Defendant's Waiver of Constitutional Rights and Court's Admonition. Those rights that I just talked to you about are now in writing, and you had an opportunity to review those. Do you have any question about any of the documents you signed?
No, sir, I do not.
The document that I just asked about, the Defendant's Waiver of Constitutional Rights and Court's Admonition, In there, you sign an acknowledgement that you are aware of the rights and protections that we have discussed. It also reminds you that you made a deal with the state, but it's not binding on me as the judge. As the judge, I have the sole authority and responsibility to either say yes or no to the bargain that you made. Is that understood?
Yes, sir, it is.
If I refuse or reject your plea bargain, or if I give you a punishment rightly within the punishment range, but greater than what you agreed to, then in that case, the law would allow you to start all over again. Is that clear?
Yes, sir, it is.
All right. Now, state, what is the basic agreement? What is going to be the plea?
I believe the plea will be no contest, Your Honor.
All right. And does the state have
Didn't
any
hear that.
motions?
No motions, Your Honor.
All right. So, Ms. Barron, what will be the type of probation?
Deferred, Your Honor.
Hear what she said about the plea agreement?
Will be deferred for how long?
6 months.
Okay. Ms. Barron, you have applied for a probation, a supervision program called deferred adjudication. That type of probation is very beneficial to you because, for one thing, although you're pleading no contest, which a no contest in this court is considered a guilty plea, even though you're doing that, I will not find you guilty so long as you live up to 100% of the conditions of supervision. If you do that, then the case is going to be dismissed and you're not, under Texas law, you'll not be convicted of the offense. If you fail or refuse to live up to the conditions, then the state may ask me to give you notice, bring you in for a hearing, and if I choose to, after the evidence presented, I can enter a final conviction that follows you the rest of your life. That would also entail looking at the entire range of punishment, a fine from $0 to $4,000, and jail from 0 days to 1 full year. You understand that?
Yes, sir, I do.
All right. Do you, how do you support yourself? How do you make money?
What I do is paid cash. I help family, as far as one of them being a friend of mine's elderly mother, and I help my aunt, which is the sole caretaker for my grandpa. I help when she's got appointments or needs to go get stuff taken care of.
What do you earn on a regular basis, monthly basis total?
I have a friend that helps me if I do need it, but I'm able to cover my bills and all my expenses with doing odd jobs and pretty much, I guess, caretaking, as it would be called.
All right. To the charge of unlawfully carrying a weapon in a motor vehicle, how do you plead, ma'am, officially?
I guess no contest, guilty.
Correct.
No contest. I accept the plea of no contest. A no contest plea, as I mentioned a while ago, is considered a guilty plea. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir, I do.
Did anyone threaten you, intimidate you, or promise you anything other than the plea bargain in exchange for your plea of no contest?
No, sir.
All right. Then I accept your plea. I find that there's sufficient evidence to find you guilty, but I do not find you guilty. I grant you 6 months deferred adjudication. As long as you live up to the conditions, that after 6 months, this case should be dismissed without a conviction.
Yes, sir.
If during that time you violate the conditions, the state asks me to have a hearing, we will bring you in for a hearing after official notice, at which time you can be convicted and the entire punishment included in there. What other conditions are there, state?
Your Honor, it'll be a $200 fine, fully probated. Hold on 1 second. There's background noise.
That was correct.
Sorry about that, Judge. $200 fine, fully probated, plus court costs. 24 hours community service. DOEP. Gun safety course.
Say what?
Gun safety course.
Okay, yeah.
And the plea papers reflect destruction of the weapon.
Okay, Mr. Beck, is that the agreement that you entered for your client?
It is, Judge.
All right, then I approve the $200 fine and it is fully probated. What that means, Ms. Barron, is if you live up to all the conditions, then you will not have any trouble. The case will be dismissed and you won't even have to pay the $200 fine. Court
Yes, sir.
costs, 24 hours community service restitution. You will have to complete the drug offender education program or the equivalent. You must complete a gun safety course. What kind of weapon are we talking about?
It was a SIG P238. It is a 380.
The 380?
Yes, a SIG P238 was model.
I'm not understanding what the brand is again.
A SIG P238.
And how did you get a hold of that?
That was one that I had gotten off of Texas Gun Trader and have a bill of sale that I signed for it.
Okay. What did you pay for it?
That one did $650 for that one.
And why were you carrying it in your car?
Judge,
I
I'm really afraid that she's maybe going to give some information that I don't know how she's going to answer
Okay.
that question.
All right, no problem. Your objection is sustained. I don't have a problem with that. I'm just trying to figure out whether I want to destroy that weapon or not.
I was just a passenger in a vehicle. But
Okay,
that's all.
all right. Then that'll be it. Then the weapon will be destroyed. The supervisory fee will be the minimum under law, $25 a month. Now, did I hear you say that you're living in Mississippi?
Yes, sir, that is correct.
Okay, then the court will approve you're residing in Mississippi.
Yes, sir, thank you.
Ms. Luna, how are we going to handle this?
Your Honor, we can have her reside in the county of Mrs., whatever county it is, but report virtually through Zoom to Bear County. We can add that as a condition.
All right. And as far as the thumbprint,
I can
Well-
fly out if I need to.
Your
Sorry?
Honor, couldn't she get that from when she got arrested? The clerks have done that before.
well, that's what I'm
Well,
asking.
Either way,
All right.
I'm coming to Texas, so that's why I'm saying I can.
Anna, just a minute.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. The court will approve the use of the thumbprint on arrest as the thumbprint is required on the documents. All right.
Okay.
Anything else? Then
No, Judge.
you need to meet Ms. Byron, you need to meet with Ms. Luna for a few minutes.
Yes, sir.
Stay